Well, major markets, stock markets that is, in Europe, Asia, the Middle East and Australia plunged on Monday as the novel coronavirus cases continued to rise globally. China is currently the world's second largest economy and central to many global supply chains. Well, to talk to us about the impact on business of the COVID-19 virus, I'm joined in studio by Business Unity South Africa board member Stavros Nicolaou. Mr. Nicolaou, thank you very much for your time. Firstly, paint us a picture of how the global economy is doing right now or is being impacted by the coronavirus outbreak.
So I think firstly, can I say both globally and more domestically home here in South Africa, the virus, or it's a public health emergency, it's not yet a pandemic, needs to be viewed from the economic impact point of view in the first instance, and then secondly, the public health containment measures, because the two are completely interrelated. Obviously, the quicker the virus is contained, the quicker economic recovery can take place. So economically, we've seen, and your viewers have been watching, the impact on markets. I mean, there was a significant impact on Wall Street yesterday, for example.
Yeah.
And that's led to economists revising global forecasts down closer to around 2%. And of course, closer to home, what's important for South Africa is we are an emerging market. At times of uncertainty, markets hate uncertainty, and they tend to be more punitive towards emerging markets. South Africa traditionally has been quite vulnerable when you've had these global public health outbreaks. So we remain vulnerable, but in the same voice, I think we need to stem the panic out there that we're currently seeing.
Globally, there is talk that the world economy might see a recession sometime this year. We are already in a recession. How is that likely to impact?
So, look, I think, firstly, the timing of this public health outbreak couldn't have been worse because it came off the back of or when we started reporting cases in South Africa, it also coincided with the last quarter's negative GDP growth rates. So the timing's not great. Okay. However, I think with all of these crises, there's opportunity that does present. Okay, so let's look at what the impact's likely to be and where the opportunities might arise. So firstly, the impact, we know that particular sectors are going to be affected, such as tourism. But I think tourism can also turn this into an opportunity, and that's certainly the message that BUSA is giving out there to its members. It's saying, let's not panic, let's look at the facts, and I'm happy to discuss some of the facts in a minute. So, and then let's look at where the opportunities are, and let's keep speaking to government around consolidating some of the policy uncertainty issues. So that's how we've viewed it. Because one thing saying we've got a crisis, but the other thing is, well, what are you going to do about the crisis? So I'd like to cover that in a minute or so, but tourism, we know, is already starting to be affected. The opportunity is, can we boost domestic tourism? Can we turn it into an opportunity for domestic travelers in their own country, get them to...
But how do you do that successfully with people panicked about even going to the airport to catch a flight? Because people are starting to view airports as the most likely places where they could contract this thing.
So look, air transport's obviously not the only mode of transport. But I think that I just want to cover one or two stats that Business Unity has looked at. So we know that there's, over a 3-month period, around 120,000 reported cases, okay, globally. And we know that the mortality rate sits at around 2 to 3%. Okay. So if you look at it in the overall context, there shouldn't be panic because the numbers are actually quite low. Okay. And what's more important for me is, let's have a look at where the epicenter of the outbreak was in China. And we've seen a significant reduction in the reported cases. That means containment measures are working. So our government, together with business, we're going to also start propagating this to our members. We need to start taking the correct measures to contain. So typically in situations like this, you've got to prevent, okay, then contain, and then respond if you need to respond. It's not like there's a wild outbreak at the moment.
Yeah.
So there are still there are abilities to function and to still go about doing our work. What's important is we need to be smart in the messages that we're communicating to the public.
I want to talk about travel ban or travel bans. There has been much talk now, and the indications are that the Interministerial Committee is looking into that matter much more intensely now. Should there be travel bans, particularly to worst hit areas? I'm talking Wuhan, I'm talking Italy here.
So look, and this is a message that Bruce is also going to be putting out and has already started putting out. Travel domestically and internationally is selective. So would it be advisable to travel to Italy right now? The answer is probably not, unless it's an absolute emergency. Would you travel to China too soon? Because the containment measures have kicked in. When the situation stabilizes there, then obviously one would relook at it. There are other destinations, of course, company by company, where there are no travel bans. So it's got to be selective, but on a well-informed basis. And I think that's what's concerning business unity. South Africa, there's a lot of fake news, a lot of misinformation, a lot of people are being misled. So the advice we'd like to give is rather get the facts and take informed decisions. So even how you conduct yourself with basic hand sanitizers and avoiding close-up measures when people are coughing or sneezing, those are basic things that will make a massive difference. But we're certainly not in crisis mode here, and government has been preparing for 3 months, and those preparedness strategies are beginning to kick in. But the most important thing here right now is, as business, we're propagating the correct containment measures. The quicker we contain, the quicker we get economic recovery. But in parallel to that, as business, we're saying we have to also, it's a good opportunity. They say never waste a crisis. This is a good time to build strategic stockpiles and future supply security, which could boost domestic manufacture. It's the right time to fix our energy mix in the country. It's the right time to start advancing consistent messaging around policy uncertainty. So we're actually seeing containment on the one hand as business. On the other hand, where are the opportunities? And just the three that I've mentioned right now are immense opportunities. So let's not waste the crisis.
All right, Stavros. Nicola, thank you very much for joining us this morning. He is a board member at Business Unity South Africa.